Fortnite Chapter 6 Season 3 has been nothing short of wild. From ancient powers awakening in the spirit realm to a demonic siege on the island, this season has taken the storyline to a whole new level of chaos and heroism. We've seen Daigo fall, rise, and become something unrecognizable. We've seen heroes born, alliances forged, and the island nearly torn apart by rift-born monsters and collapsing realities. Before the next season, here's a full story recap of Fortnite Chapter 6 Season 3, the arrival of Superman and the rise of supernovas. When Superman accidentally passed through a chaotic interdimensional rift, he found himself in Reality 783, an unstable universe still reeling from the aftermath of the spirit realm's portal partial collapse. From the silence of space, he witnessed the widespread damage below. A shockwave of raw dimensional energy had fractured the skies and scarred the surface of the Fortnite island. Without hesitation, he drove through the atmosphere, drawn to the chaos like a beacon. As he neared the island, Superman spotted a battle bus spiraling out of control, its systems fired by residual energy from the shockwave. Inside, a group of young passengers braced for impact. With seconds to spare, Superman swooped in and carried the entire vehicle to safety, earning the awe and gratitude. But their moment of safety was fleeting. Daigo, now fully consumed by the demonic essence of the spirit realm, had returned to the Fortnite island. Once a humble mask maker, now led an army of fearsome demon guards and had eradicated towering spires that slowly corrupted the landscape. By his side stood Core, a ruthless mercenary and former operative of the Imagined Order, whose allegiances shifted with the wind and the promise of power. The young survivors rescued by Superman quickly discovered they had been changed. The shockwave that had nearly ended them had instead awakened latent powers. Each of them now carried unique abilities tied to the island's fractured energy. Realizing their potential, Superman, along with Robin, Night Rose, Hope, and Jones, took the group under their wing. Under the hero's guidance, they trained to become a united force capable of confronting Daigo. Together, they formed a new team, the Supernovas, protectors of Reality 783 and the last hope against the rising dark, the trials of Morgan Mist. Among the Supernovas, one young recruit stood out, Morgan Mist, a girl with powerful but volatile shadow-based abilities. After a troubling incident where she lost control of her shadow proxies during a skirmish, Hope personally took Morgan under her mentorship, recognizing the immense potential within her. Hope sought to guide Morgan's emotional turmoil into strength. At the same time, the experienced Looper was tasked with supervising Morgan during field operations. Their first mission took them to the outskirts of Diego's expanding territory. Using advanced surveillance tech, the Looper and Morgan tracked Diego's movements and uncovered fragments of corrupted spires spread across the island. The remnants were delivered to Superman for analysis, hoping they would reveal the extent and limit of Diego's new power. Meanwhile, Kendo, Diego's estranged brother, struggled with the weight of betrayal. Still haunted by the memories of who Daigo used to be, he began to suspect that his brother's soul was not entirely lost. A vision granted to him by Night Rose hinted that Daigo was not acting on his own will, but was being manipulated by a sinister entity from the spirit realm. This revelation promoted Hope to begin formulating a risky plan. If they could face and defeat the entity within its own dimension, they might be able to free Daigo from its grasp. Morgan Mist investigates. As her training continued, Morgan couldn't shake the feeling that her mentors were keeping secrets. Late one night, accompanied by the ever-curious Looper, she began to search Supernova Academy grounds for answers. The two discovered encrypted files, hidden chambers, and remnants of classified communications. It was here they uncovered the truth. Hope had enlisted Midas, the Gold Touch mastermind, to finance the Academy's growing operations. More concerning, however, was Night Rose's private investigation into a mysterious archway located deep in Utopia City. Morgan theorized that the archway was more than decorative. It was a concealed interdimensional gateway tied to the Zero-Point Shard. In a hidden vault beneath the city, she uncovered a holographic message from Midas, who revealed that the archway was a failsafe, designed to imprison the shard once it had been retrieved from the spirit realm. Although Hope assured Morgan that Midas's involvement was strategic and temporary, Morgan remained cautious. She had learned by now that even heroes could have hidden motives. The fall of Supernova Academy. Just as tensions within the Academy began to simmer, disaster struck. Under the cover of darkness, Diego's demon guards launched a brutal surprise assault on the Supernova Academy. The campus was overwhelmed, buildings were scorched, archives looted, and the once beautiful grounds were twisted by corruption. But thanks to prior evacuation drills, the students and staff were able to escape safely. As the survivors regrouped, Morgan stood among the ruins, smoke swirling around her, looking at the collapsed structure. She simply said it was just a building. The real strength of the Supernova, she understood, lived in the people, not the walls. Hope and Jones quickly began strategizing a counteroffensive to retrieve the 0-point shard, now confirmed to be in Diego's possession. Meanwhile, the Looper helped Morgan stabilize morale within the surviving group. Together they established surveillance posts, scanned for signs of Diego's movement, and worked to rebuild the heart of the academy, not just physically, but emotionally. Still battling self-doubt, Morgan was thrust into a leadership role. Though plagued by anxiety over her own abilities, she recognized her growing responsibility, not just to fight, but to protect its mental and emotional well-being of her fellow Supernovas. In a final effort to lift spirits, the Looper gathered personal mementos and Spire fragments collected from past missions. Working together, Hope and Morgan transformed these fragments into a monumental statue, one forged not just from broken stone, but from the hopes and memories of each student who had once walked the halls of the academy. And so in the darkest of times, the Supernovas found their light, not in triumph, but in unity. Super Showdown, the battle for the Fortnite Island. Beneath storm-choked skies, Daigo stood atop the highest spire within his corrupted domain. Once a peaceful mask shop, now a twisted fortress radiating with demonic energy. Surrounded by swirling shadows and the pulsating glow of corrupted crystal, he began a dark ritual, channeling the immense energy of the Spires. Daigo sought to tear open the veil between dimensions and summon forth a monstrous being from the depths of the spirit realm. As ancient glyphs ignited in fiery arcs around him, the seas near the Fortnite Island began to boil and churn. Moments later, a titanic kraken tentacle, gnarled, scaled, and dripping with otherly world sludge, burst through a rift above the ocean, its presence shaking the island to its core. Daigo raised his arms, basking in what he believed to be his moment of triumph, proclaiming himself to be the harbinger of a new age. But the creature did not bow. Without warning, the kraken's colossal limbs slammed into Daigo, sending him flying into the ruins of his own lair. At that critical moment, the Supernovas arrived. Morgan Mist, Kill Switch, Light Rider, Synthwave, Ziggy, and Haley Sky soared into the compound, their silhouettes cutting through the smoke and lightning. United in purpose, they wasted no time. With Daigo incapacitated and the kraken threatening to level the island, they launched into battle. Light Rider darted across the battlefield in a streak of neon light, drawing the creature's attention with dazzling speed. Haley Sky summoned winds to keep the tentacle from gaining ground, while Ziggy launched coordinated strikes with explosive energy blasts. At the front lines, Synthwave unleashed devastating shockwaves of sound that disoriented the beast. Killswitch, wielding weaponized tech fused with Rift energy, scaled the tentacle and delivered piercing overloads into its core. And Morgan Mist, commanding her army of shadow proxies, encased part of the tentacle in dark matter, sapping its strength and holding it in place. Under their combined assault, the kraken reeled in pain, thrashing wildly before retreating back through the rift, but only temporarily. A thundering roar echoed across the island as the rift widened once more. This time, 3 massive tentacles emerged from the portal, each larger than the last, lashing out in all directions. Then, through the clouds he descended. Superman, drawn by the rising threat, dove into the chaos with meteoric speed. With unwavering force, he intercepted one of the tentacles mid-swing, halting its strike inches from the Supernovas. In a single staggering motion, he severed the limb with a concentrating blast of heat vision, forcing the creature to recoil in fury. Not wasting a single second, Superman ascended above the battlefield, and his eyes glowing crimson, he unleashed a blazing beam of destruction, sweeping it across the surrounding spires, vaporizing their foundations and breaking the ritual's hold on the kraken. The corrupted magic shattered, and the rift began to stabilize. With a final furious shriek, the kraken's remaining limbs vanished into the collapsing portals, leaving only a scorched crater where it had emerged. Below, the battle-scarred Supernova stood victorious. Though weary, the ruin of Diego's stronghold smothered in silence. Superman, surveying the aftermath, gave the heroes a nod before soaring back into the skies. Diego's monstrous summoning had failed. His influence from the demon realm was broken, for now, and the island was safe. Everyone knew this was only the beginning of something much bigger. And that wraps up the story of Fortnite Chapter 6 Season 3, a season filled with dark rituals, shifting alliances, and world-altering chaos. From Diego's monstrous ambitions to the rise of the Supernova Academy, every moment this season pushed the island closer to its brink. But with new threats emerging and mysteries still unsolved, one thing's for sure, this story is far from over. If you guys enjoyed this recap, be sure to drop a like and subscribe for more Fortnite content, and let me know in the comments below, what do you think is coming next season? season. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.